Hello everyone, this is Grandmaster VAR AKOBIAN and I'm here with my student Jonathan Martin, and now we're going to take a look at the games from round number 5 of the tournament in St. Louis GM Gnome tournament. MARDOV is facing FM ESWARAN. So let's take a look at this game, Jonathan. So C4 again. Again we see the English. It's unbelievable. So many English we see in this tournament, but here this time we have a real English. We have the pure English here, you know, no transpositions or anything. So we have the development, the 4 knights, and now E3. The main move in this position is considered the move G3 actually. Okay, sorry. So you just play G3 here with the idea of bishop G2.
Ready, yes.
Yeah. Red yes, and then castle and try to get the diagonal. But white decided to play E3. And now, okay, it goes bishop B4, queen C2. The point is, if you capture, queen takes on C3. Now takes, B takes C3. This is an interesting decision because I'm not sure, because you can also take back with the queen. And don't leave your pawn structure compromised, okay? Yeah. Keep the intact pawn structure. So I kind of like this as well. But MARDOV wanted to try this, and now E4. Now putting pressure on the knight. And because white wants to play E4 itself and also play the D3, so black plays here, knight D4, knight E5, and this looks very interesting. F4, aggressive play by the young players, and now takes on F3, knight takes F3, and knight G6. You know, white has a very big center, but you know he also has the double C pawns here. So now he plays bishop e2, castles, queen e7, knight d4. The idea of knight d4 is to try to put a knight on f5. The knight will be well placed here. So black plays d6, knight f5. You know, it's perhaps better to start with a d3, e4, and try to get a bishop on g5. You know, and keep the knight here for now. And if c5 is played, then you can play the move knight a5. So again, and you're now moving the same piece more than once. Yeah. See here, the knight already went 1, 2, and now you're making 3 moves with the knight, and the bishop of course going to take it. Yeah. Bishop in 1. So it's a little bit of loss of time here. Now c6, rook b1, and now rook b3. Position is roughly equal.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So if a knight has 3 tempos invested in it,
yes,
and you take it with a single tempo of a bishop move, then that's worth it because he invested so much time in improving this knight, and you spent a single tempi.
Yeah.
So
2 tempi you gain. Yeah,
right?
2 tempi gain. Most of the time that would be okay, but again, there are no 100% rules in chess, Jonathan. There's always like a pros and cons. You always have to see which position. But in this position, yeah, it works. It works fine for black. So now we have this complicated position because it's also a very unusual type of position. The balance is very different, so it's not easy to see because you know white has 2 bishops, but it's kind of double pawns. There is an island here. The bishop is stuck on c1. It's very hard to tell who is better here. And in fact, the answer is nobody is better here. Yeah. It's just an unclear position. So now he plays d3, d5, take, bishop d2. b6. You know, black is very, very solid, but white is solid as well. Rook b4, bishop d1. Lots of maneuvering going on here. Rook over.
What a strange pawn structure. The 3 flat pawns. In
the rank. Yeah, you don't see this too often. Yeah. So and lots of maneuvering going on here, and black is actually probably feeling a little bit more comfortable here. You know, I wouldn't mind just playing a5, a4 as well here. Now attacks, bishop f2. And here we have queen going back on e7, first sort of inaccuracy here. The best would have been just to play knight a5 to put pressure on the queen. The problem with this move is when you go here, that allows the move e4, Jonathan, and now we see, boom, this bishop is open. So white is taking over now the game.
The bishops have awoken.
Exactly. When the bishops open up, that's good for the player with 2 bishops. Now takes, rook d8. And this was an inaccuracy. It looks like if he had played the move queen f5, it's now the rook is hanging. You take me, I take you. Your rook is still hanging. If you move the rook, let's say you don't want to lose it, you move it somewhere, guess what? Look at that, Jonathan.
Oh, that's a pretty knight right there.
Yeah, because the bishop is pinning the king, pawn on f7. So that's an absolute That's an absolute pin, so you win it.
What a huge surprise.
Yeah. So that's why it would have been better to play this move. And here I think you should play like e3, bishop e6, give up exchange.
Sure.
So he didn't do that, unfortunately. He took. And that loses most of the advantage. Because now take, now rook can move, see? Rook has a retreat square.
Now it's solid, making the solidifications on F7.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And now also you see a split structure here. E4, C3, A2, so they're all split up.
Pawn even weaker than isolated queen's pawn.
H3, Queen E8, Queen F5, now threatening to take on G6. Knight E4, blunder. So here the best move is actually a very difficult move for black to find. It's A5. Allowing the queen take G6, Jonathan, but if you take it, guess what? A4, hitting the bishop. And the bishop, if it goes away, you take this. If you go to D5, take this. If you go to C4, take this. And this would have been the best approach for black. Sack the bishop, but okay, it's playable.
Yeah.
Because you're down a pawn, but the pawns are weak. So yeah, that was a blunder. That was a blunder by ESWARAN, because now knight goes D2, and now bishop E5, threatening mate. Excuse me. So, queen F8, and rook takes F7.
Oof. Freezes the rook to the king.
And here is the wrong decision here. You don't have to take here. You can actually start out with a move bishop D5 because you cannot move anymore.
Move, yeah.
And now if let's say knight C4, then you can just take, shake, have to go here, take, and you just eliminate this and go into a winning king and pawn endgame because you have 2 on 1. Yeah, you just simply go to that 2 and 1 endgame.
My favorite part about pro chess is like how little you win by sometimes. Like and it's easier to win by little than to win by some crazy 17 moves of thing. Like those are the better ways. So now the move was bishop D5. Bishop D5 would have just won the game here. So I play bishop G7, and they get to this endgame where here actually here what you gotta do is you just gotta make sure you exchange queens, and you can play like this. Exchange, and you just have good winning chances here. With the precise technique, you should win. But from here on, the game went, kind of weird.
Black played here, lost this, and they got to this position where eventually, after 90 moves of play, White managed to win at the very end. Okay?
Oh my God.
But again, the game could have just been won right here.
On 36.
Yeah, on 37 if the move bishop D5. Okay.
Wow.
So in the final position, final position of the game was this position it was still a draw, and here ESWARAN has to just give a side checks from C2. She had to give a side checks, but instead she took the pawn, and she just simply overlooked the move king F6. And now king is getting mated because check on B8, check, and mate on G7, or you have to play queen G5, and after the trade occurs,
winning pawn endgame.
You go here. There is just extra move G4, and then you get the winning pawn endgame.
Wow.
So that's why it's like taking a pawn sometimes can be the taboo here.
Can you go to the top of those? And I want to just flip through very quickly. So just click the top of the big moves so the players can see. Go up, 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 up. This whole volley right to the blunder, and I'm gonna go through really quickly so people can see what happens here. Yeah. So I was just gonna go like this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'll go a little slower. So the beginning of the blunder, just so you can see the scale of how much fighting happens from here.
Yeah. No, I mean this position is just it becomes clear that it's gonna be a very long game here. So.
Oh my God.
And then the final idea was just so true. This is a draw, but it just there's still still a resource, and actually just a block just fell into the trap. Yeah.
And then right here we have this moment.
Yeah. Had to play queen C2 check. Go back. Right here, queen C2 check had to be played. But instead he took the pawn, and after king S6 it was just losing.
Yeah.
Very interesting game. I hope you guys enjoyed this game, and this was a game between MARDOV and ESWARAN. We'll see you soon again. About 8 to 9.